the country and to also get, some responses from government officials and also members of the opposition. But we'll start off with the headlines in the newspapers, and Ghanaian Times is what we begin with. And so that big story, Ghana receives 249,600 doses of AstraZeneca as gifts from UK government under the COVAX facility. So for all those who took the first jab of AstraZeneca and have been waiting for months to take their second jab, there's a window of opportunity for you to finally get your second jab. And so that's the update on this. Also, some vaccines are being given out. That's the Johnson & Johnson. So anyone who has taken AstraZeneca first jab, you're not allowed to go and take Johnson & Johnson. So please take notes. Johnson & Johnson is just one jab. And so it's for all those who have not yet taken the AstraZeneca. Your time will also come. I'm sure they'll announce all the details for us, so you can also walk into any health facility and get your second jab. And also, we've not abandoned hospital projects by previous administration. That is the Health Minister, Mr. Jaman Menu, and he was responding to a statement that was put out by the NDC, or the minority, yesterday. They've been asking a number of questions concerning Agenda 111. I will read a bit of that statement as we move along. BOST fails to recover 446,845 Ghana cedis debt from BDCs. That's according to the Auditor General's report. And 166 specialists to operate on conjoined twins next month. The Business and Financial Times, it says that energy sector debt to remain above $1 billion yearly until 2024. SMEs participation in digital economy key for recovery. And also, President Akufo-Addo inaugurates Professor Edu Boahen Square, and Haftel donates laptop to RTI Commission. Daily Guide says Agenda 111 ruffles NDC. Mahama cries wolf. And yesterday, the former president indicated that Agenda 111 is an afterthought. Also, the health minister responded to this. We'll get into all those details soon. And 249,600 doses of AstraZeneca land, $36 million meters fraud uncovered, and BOST awarded $39 million contracts without approval, according to the Auditor General's report. The Business Finder consolidates salaries, allowances to make retirement more meaningful for workers, according to the NPRA. My commitment to fighting corruption is steadfast. That's according to the president. And Ghana and Singapore to create financial trust corridor to boost business support. Quite a number of papers this morning. Let me quickly run through them. The Vanguard says NPP has fixed economy in 4 years, according to the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Kissed students undergo counseling. And yesterday, one of the girls who was seen clearly uncomfortable when that kiss was being given to her, she says she feels as if her virginity has been broken. 249,600 doses of AstraZeneca arrive in Ghana, and Vanguard Online hits 200,000 and still counting. The Daily Statesman, the woes of journalists. Psychologists say many suffer poor mental health due to emotional constipation and occupational reality shock. UTAG to return to negotiation table, but that strike has not been called off yet. Ghana receives another 249,000 AstraZeneca COVID vaccine. Supreme says court rules for the Akwe family over Huakpo land, and NADMO DG committed to education development in Ahafo. And a quick one. So the Newday says that Parliament lets LGBTQ plus advocates pump in $238 million to slither anti-gay bill. Horror at Ghana Standard Authority. And finally, the Daily Graphic says commitment to corruption fight high, according to Akufo-Addo. UTAG suspends strike, parties agree on milestones, and anti-armed robbery squad robbers in shootout yesterday. Joining me in the studios this morning, I have Elikem Kotoko. He's a member of the NDC communications team, and also Saka Salia is a member of the NPP communications team. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
Morning,
at least Elikem, I know. I've not met you, like I was saying earlier. This will be my first time
Yes,
on paper review that I'm meeting you. It's good to have you in the studios,
Thank you
and I hope everything is well.
Brace
How about
yourself
you?
for a lot of mischief from him.
Oh, I should, eh? Well, we're looking forward to it. But first story that we'll be taking a look at, and quickly, even before that, I want to say a quick happy birthday from Dr. Kena Frimpong to Ruth Linda, who's the Principal Assistant, Department of Statistics and Actuarial Science, and also happy birthday to Kelvin Henne of Adisadel College. This is from Mr. and Mrs. Johnny Hughes. Yesterday, we paid a visit to the Senior Correctional Center at Roman Ridge, where we interacted with some of the young boys, who are very creative, have been able to make clothes, shoes, bags, and those are some of the reforms that they undergo when they are sentenced to the Senior Correctional Center after being convicted of criminal or civil offenses. And yes, we got to speak to them, and the PRO for the Ghana Prison Service Greater Accra region also indicated that a lot more help was required. Now, the whole idea is to go hard on this, and so we know that Mimi or Miriam will also bring us a full documentary on the fate of children who come into conflict with the law, and that'll be on Tuesday at 9:30. That's next week, Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. Yesterday, there was a demonstration by public sector workers, and they were demonstrating against that 4% increase in salaries, as against the about 79% increase in salaries for Article 71 office holders. And they are saying that this is very minimal as compared to the new taxes that were introduced this year, and they're really suffering. They want a change. They're asking for 25% increase for this year and 35% increase for next year. Let's take a look at a bit of what happened on the streets yesterday.
So please, we are moving now to wherever we are going.
Organizers of the protest attributed the low turnout to lack of financial capacity by members to transport themselves to the venue.
The month has almost divided into two. Public sector worker, nobody will have even, I don't think somebody have 100 Ghana in their salary or in their bank account. So even taking cars to this place, this is a confirmation that Ghanaian workers are actually suffering.
Kickstarting from the Obra Sport at Circle through to Adabraka, then to Accra Central. Members of the group said they expect their leaders to immediately address their grievances or resign.
Everything is expensive now, and we are really in a serious crisis.
We are dying slowly. We are dying in pain. There's nobody to talk for us. Our leaders have disappointed us. So this demonstration is like a life. It is my whole life.
We want to tell organized labor and their gentlemen partners who are government appointees that enough of this nonsense. We will not take it again. We are saying that to hell with the 4%.
The demonstrators finally made their way to the Black Star Square and then to Parliament, where their petition was received. Norbert Bobochi, who speaks for the aggrieved public sector workers, indicated that the group seeks an immediate increment in base pay or the resignation of the General Secretary of the Trades Union Congress, Dr. Anthony Yalba.
We hereby respectfully ask that the Chief Labour Officer be directed by law to initiate a fresh negotiation, having in mind that we want 25% base pay increment and not that of 4%. And we are also asking that, quite apart from that, the 7% they negotiated for next year should also go to 35%. Either than that, he can also resign.
Director of Public Affairs at Accra Regional, DSP Juliana Obeng, described the security deployment plan as prudent.
Those are some public sector workers on demonstration yesterday. They are asking for their base pay to be renegotiated to 25% for this year and 35% for the next year. Elikem, I'll start off with you since you're, opposition. I don't know what you had to say about this in particular, the fact that we're looking at a emoluments committee increasing Article 71 office holder salary by 79%. And more in some cases, yet public sector workers are being given an increment of 4%. This should be worrying.
Thank you, Bella. Good morning and to our viewers. Especially today, I want to say good morning to my dad, Sam Frank Kotoko. With reference to what you just said, you see, I am glad that you brought in the fact that emoluments of Article 71 office holders, which further went a step ahead to want to even suggest that our first ladies ought to be paid some amounts. Actions of this nature are some of the reasons you will find these unions also very aggrieved, because if the state would always continue to say we don't have money, but have enough for themselves, but when it comes to these unions, then we feel that a palpable throw of crumbs at them is enough. then we will continue to be in this jeopardy that we are finding ourselves. I mean, this is not peculiar to only the NPP government. I mean, governments have come and gone, and this has been the case. But of recent times, the way they begin to say, my brother may not like it, but the fact that there's heightened corruption, whether it's an impression or it's just what have you, it is giving them a lot of reasons to ask, why then are we being treated this way? So there's need for stakeholders to see the importance or the relevance of calling them and getting to the negotiating table. They all need to have that open mindset in order to understand that in moving into a negotiation table, you need to have an open mind and be able to secure a win-win situation. They are, in the meantime, saying 25, 35, but it may not necessarily be what will be achieved. But as we are even in Ghana, everybody knows that when you go to the market to buy a bottle of water, they will tell you it's 30 cedis, but in the end, you may negotiate it to maybe 20 or 15. So I think their concerns are justifiable by the economic hardships that have become very untold that has been visited on us, especially of recent times, which unfortunately is always attributed to COVID-19. Meanwhile, the same COVID-19 is the result for which a lot of funds have been given this government. And so I think the concerns raised by these unions is right. We don't need to play politics with it. They need to be called in. And if you could borrow the words of President Kufuor some time back, that, look, employers are pretending to be paying, and the employees are also pretending to be working.
But their leaders are saying that we had to secure the jobs of about 1 million of us, which is why we agreed to this, even though we were not for it in the beginning. But they said this is the only way they will not lay off some of us as public sector workers. And so there were lots of issues that came up, which is why they had to accept this deal.
We need to admit that for every economy to thrive, the base becomes the bane or the bone that does more of the work. Isn't it surprising that all over the world, we've heard world leaders call for pay cuts in their own salaries, etc. It didn't mean that that alone was going to resolve the entire problem, but it is what is called leadership. If you make me avert our minds to President Mahama, when he noticed that there were schools under trees and the need to build church compounds, he saw the need to call on his appointees to have a pay cut, a certain percentage that goes into that. Out of it, I think about 1,500 schools were taken out of from the trees, under trees, and then so was the case with the church compounds that were built as well. But with the current regime, it is difficult for the president to actually even make such a decision. And unfortunately, however, saw the need to call for a pay cut or a budget cut for the judiciary and the legislature. So when you have leadership that is not showing the expected leadership, you have some of these albatross on your neck. That is not the only reason why the unions are calling for all of that. Is it really to just save their jobs? If it is really to save their jobs, then I think the president, again, government must also be able to show that, look, the number, you recall the 125 appointees that we were told were supposed to do a certain work and transform the economy in 4 years. What has been the situation?
But you talk about, President Mahama at that time taking a pay cut because of those schools under trees. But the Professor Francisca Edubuando Emoluments Committee, said that they were going to give them some pay eventually after that. And so is it not the same thing? I mean, the president now had said that we were not going to see, or they were going to experience a pay cut in their salaries as well because of COVID-19.
That is what I'm saying. That
so is it not the same thing that we're seeing?
It is what shows leadership, when a leader understands and shows sensitivity to the plight of the governed. So it is expected, not necessarily for the president to also go for a pay cut, but opt for any other option that would appeal to the people to know that, look, he is with us. He understands the language we are speaking.
But you still take it in your ex gratia anyway.
Ex gratia.
So what's the point in taking pay cut if eventually you're still going to take the money?
An ex gratia is different from your salaries that you would say that you are. You recall when President.
But if you take a pay cut, is it not going to be added to your ex gratia? So at the moment, it looks as if you are helping people, but eventually you take the money?
Your ex gratia is a calculation of for your period that you've worked, and that is more or less like a benefit. It is not to say that what you have said, that look, 1% of my salary for the next 1 year should go to this. That would definitely be deducted.
But if you take a pay cut for, let's say, 2 years, and you're being paid ex gratia, they should be able to calculate it in such a way that you know, it knows that you didn't take, your pay for
So
2 years, so it should be deducted.
definitely.
But the Emoluments Committee paid full.
Definitely, there are always...
So it doesn't really reflect
no,
the help that you're saying you're giving to Ghanaians.
No, it sure reflects because, you see, these are done in conjunction even with the department. How do we call the Accountant General's department? So all that will definitely be affected in the end.
It was not affected.
It surely will be. It surely will be.
It was a full pay that they received.
It surely is affected, and I'm telling you this on authority. Hell would have broken loose if that has not been the case.
I see.
Yes.
Interesting. Let me bring Saka in, because the finance minister had said that there was no money because of COVID-19, and now where these people are saying that you said there was no money, yet the Emoluments Committee found a way to increase salaries of Article 71 office holders by 79%, and yet public sector workers are getting an increase of only 4%. There is the introduction of new taxes and we have to pay. If there's no money, then let it reflect in everybody's accounts and not just some people, because it looks as if some people are privileged and the rest of us can, excuse me to say, go to hell.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bella. Good morning to our cherished viewers. Good morning to my brother, Elikem Kotoko. And especially to His Excellency, the President, Donald Akufo-Addo, and then the Vice President. Well, I mean, you can, in a very simple manner, take it the way you just explained it, that, some people, by this, the Article 71 office holders have been increased. But first of all, let's make it clear that Article 71 office holders' salaries have not been increased, technically.
They have not been. When you say technically, what do you mean by that?
Because what has been preferred by the Emolument Committee is the money that they were supposed to take 4 years ago. So they are paid on account. And what the committee brought, or the suggestions that came from the committee, that also went through Parliament for Parliament to now endorse it, was an amount that was preferred to members of Article 71 office holders on account.
This is money they were supposed to have taken.
That is what they were supposed to have taken 4 years ago.
So you're saying that there were no increments in the last 4 years? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm saying that is what they are supposed to say. From now go, you see, the 4% that we are talking about, it is taking place this year, not 2020 or whatever. And therefore, when people say that, Article 71 office holders have been increased by 79%, and all other people, are said to go to hell and all those, that is accurately inaccurate.
Well, but even before you move on, because I'm looking at the salary increment of, Article 71 office holders from the Interior Committee, and I see a clear increase. I mean, when they came into power in 2016, the president came to me 29,899. 2017, it increased to 35,520. Then 2018, 39,072. 2019, 42,979, and 2020, 47,277. And it's the same for vice president, cabinet ministers. They all experience an increase every year.
That's what I'm saying. Technically, you see, the amount that was preferred by the committee is the amount that they were supposed to be paying them in 2017 up to 2020.
What amount were they supposed to be paying? Increase is increase anyway.
No, I mean, in a simplistic manner, you would just say increase is increase. But that is not the case. You should know that, I mean, they are paid on account. And that is the reason why when that increase comes, then they are paid their backlog. Because that is the money that that is the increase that they are supposed to have had in the past. But because of the way it is structured, they are unable to do so. But who have to, for instance, I mean, from 2020 up to 2024, the increase will actually come after another committee has been set. But let's not belabor that. The point is about the 4% that the people are agitating against and all that. We all know that COVID has devastated the whole world.
Okay.
The global supply chain has been disrupted, not only in Ghana, everywhere. Therefore, revenues that countries are supposed to get, they don't. I mean, we have a budget shortfall and projects that we are supposed to prosecute because of the shortfall in budget and revenue. We are unable to get money. Indeed, if you look at even the public sector, how many are there? I mean, less than 700,000. But if you look at their output over the year, because of COVID, the productivity hasn't been all that. to drum home about. And therefore, if we go to other jurisdictions, they are laying off workers. Companies are laying off workers. If you go to the US, about 36 million of their citizens had COVID. Therefore, if you go, it also affected the whole economy. If you go take their debt to GDP, even UK debt to GDP, 98.9%, almost 99%, almost everywhere. Every country is reeling under the devastating effect of COVID-19. And therefore, some countries are adjusting. Some countries are even laying off workers. I remember very well, private companies laid off even, what do you call it, private schools.
So your point here is?
So the point is that productivity reduced. We're unable to produce the way it should. The economy suffered. Everybody is sacrificing. That is the reason why I first of all made you aware that it is erroneous for anybody to assume that a position that, there has been 79% increase in Article 71 office holders. That is not the case at all. No Article 71 office holder salary has been increased.
But could we not have held on to that, especially looking at how
we should held on to the
disrupted
constitutional
everything?
Imperative.
No, but listen, COVID disrupted everything.
No,
there were teachers who lost their jobs, private school teachers, and they were agitating every single day.
Yeah, exactly.
There were some funds that were supposed to have been made available to them, which was a promise. They still did not receive it. So is it fair that as we're going through all this, we've borrowed so much money that we're yet to pay? Citizens are being asked to pay back indirectly, which is why some taxes have been reviewed and some have been increased. If these citizens are paying back all these, and yes, they get
nobody's paying back anything.
Citizens are not paying back for the free water and the free electricity.
Listen.
Our own information minister said it. That you would have to pay back eventually, which is what we're doing.
Then it means that nothing has ever been free.
But you knew that and you told us it was free.
No. If I want to take your own assertion, if you are saying that government will do, something free for the populace, and try and get innovative means of recouping it. And then you say that because of that, it is not free.
But the information minister himself said it, that we would have to pay back.
Then nothing has ever been free.
So why did you tell us it was free?
When people used to tell us that, Kwame Nkrumah brought free education in the past and all that, and then they hammered on it and all that. Do you think the money that Kwame Nkrumah used then was from his own pocket? They had a way of ensuring that they recoup such money.
From the citizens?
Anywhere, even if it is a grant or even gift given to Ghana, it is given to Ghana as citizens. It's given to the citizens of this nation, and therefore is their property.
Okay, so nothing was free. That's
so technically, if you are saying because we are bringing other means to recoup it, then it means that
I'm not the one saying it. I said the information minister said it himself.
So I disagree with that. But you see, the 4% that we talk, that they are saying that, it is not enough and all that. I thought that it is a short case. Because look, we have gone through the negotiation table with the tripartite committee. 5 members from employers, 5 members from organized labor, and only the minister went and sat. The matters were brought to the table. They discussed it. They saw the need that indeed we are not in normal times. And therefore, the revenues that we were expecting, we could not get. Productivity has reduced. It affected everything. And therefore, for us, even though productivity has reduced, we are not going to say that we are not going to increase your salary. Indeed, minimum wage. Minimum wage was hovering around 9 something. Then we move it to 11. Now, as we are speaking, it's 11.53. As a result of prudent management of the economy and the fact that we are not just hiding behind COVID, but the realities are there for everybody to see that indeed COVID affected everybody. And then the tripartite committee,
a luxurious private
listen,
jet
the tripartite committee came to conclusion that indeed 4% is good enough
for the public sector workers. But the president flew a luxurious private jet for 15,000 an hour.
How do you define luxurious?
Well, we went on the websites. We all saw exactly what it is. The company described it itself as that's their most luxurious private jet.
So if you have a company and you want people to come and
but we saw the interior of the private jet. My point here, and let's not even drag the issue about the private jet. But we're saying we don't have money. But we can fly a luxurious private jet for 15,000
I am saying it's not a luxurious private jet.
And yet, when it comes to increasing the salaries, the base pay of public sector workers, we say that it's 4% we can give them.
When you make that point, that populist point, that somebody rode or flew luxurious airplane, and therefore should come and give public sector workers 100% increase.
Nobody's asking for a 100% increase. And you heard what the president said. He says that they want a 25% increase in base pay at least.
On what basis?
Because they're saying that they have to pay taxes. Life is difficult.
But do you know that even under COVID, we reduced some of the taxes?
Which ones?
Oh, taxes on taxes. We even rebate on some of, even delayed.
But you came back and gave us 6 more taxes to pay.
No, but we have reduced some. Even this government has shown that when it comes to taxation, we reduced about 18 different taxations since we came to power.
But we're still paying some taxes, including the free electricity and free water.
You want
some of the taxes, you brought them, those luxury taxes, and then you took them away.
I mean, you are only talking about one.
CST is one of them.
You are only CST had been there long ago.
Did you not increase it?
And we reduce it. We reduce it even more than the original. We reduce it from. We reduce it.
After you collected more money is
5%.
when you reduced it.
We reduced it to 5%, even though it was 6% under the NDC.
I see. All right.
So in ending, I would just say that I mean they should bear with government.
So they don't deserve. Do they deserve the 25%?
They deserve increase, and that is the reason why they've been increased. Their salaries have been increased. So let's not create impression as if they have not increased their salaries.
4%. Do you know how much 4% is?
But what
For
has
some
been the
of them,
productivity?
it's just 20 Ghana cedis.
If productivity were the measure of salary increase, if productivity were to commensurate with salary increase, I don't think that they would have had even increase.
Eli,
they would even have had even reduction in their salaries.
You are saying they are not being productive?
I'm saying that because of COVID, everybody has not been as productive as we should have.
Which is why I'm saying that then we shouldn't have given a 79% increase and say that they should.
And I told you that there has never been 79% increase technically.
Okay, you Eli can please come in. Learn from me on this so we can move on. We've already spent time.
I am very scandalized and at sea over the submissions by my brother in relation to this matter. I mean, you see what I was telling you earlier, that the lifestyle of government alone is even enough reason for the agitations we are seeing today. The president will tell you, and now we don't have money. But you can fly a luxurious flight. And they are not saying what is luxury, when the company itself defines it as luxury. Imagine, had the Norwegian journalists not actually exposed the scandalous misconduct of our regime by the finance minister and the health minister, over 2.47, almost 16 million cedis would never have been accounted for. If it may be accounted for, it will be accounted into individual pockets. And they have no shame because we still have these people living at post. So when these people are witnessing all these, they have every justification to tell it. Because that 16 point whatever million alone could have sufficed for probably 10% of them, and you would have found another money for another. You recall a CSO did a survey in 2017, 2018 that said over 19 billion was actually sinking into corruption. And you recall the numerous scandals we have had, amongst other things.
It was 9. It was 9.
9 billion. So you see, so there are a lot of ways. So when you have the president who at one point will tell you there is money, and at another point tell you that there's no money, then the finance minister comes to say we are on strong footing. We are on strong footing. Why then are you suffering? So you some hypocrisy of cherry picking us and when it favors us. When it is not so good, oh, we are in tough times. We are not out of the woods yet. Please understand us. Then the next time they are telling you at the budget reading or at another point that, oh, our economy is still robust. Ghana has been touted as one of the best in terms of, then why the struggling? So be real and tell the people the facts. You are lying to the people. So they keep getting conflicting and confusing statements, even from government spokesperson. We've heard the finance minister say something different. You will hear the president himself say another, and then you have the spokespersons also saying another thing. So you do not even know what to say. Meanwhile, the people are witnessing what is happening. Whether you like it or not, the numerous corruption cases that continue to arise in this government that has become like an agenda 419 is really worrying. And it is more reason why you would have them complain bitterly and request for 35%. I know you would agree with me that maybe they could have even said we are expecting 15% or 20%, but they feel the need to call for a high price or high rate because they are witnessing. And it is not just me saying it. You also know, but because you're an empire for the program, you are unable to say it. There's an endemic corruption that has been established under this regime.
The president says he is committed to fighting corruption.
He told you and I that he was going to fight it in the using the ANAS principle. What happened? He told us what happened to Daniel Yadomalevo. Then they will come to tell you that allocations has been given to anti-graft institutions, and you think that alone is enough? Your actions must show, not just words. So this is a PR government that is good at talking, but very zero.
Are you helping government to fight corruption? We've seen the Auditor General's report on the energy sector and all the other sectors and, the level of corruption in there.
I think
are you going to take it up as a minority in Parliament?
I am sure they will, and I'm also sure that Ghanaians will applaud the minority for taking them on each time.
Okay.
Because you recall the JAPA, the PDS, etc. Had it not been the minority with the backing of Ghanaians, what we're witnessing today wouldn't have been the case.
But JAPA, it was the special prosecutor who really hammered on that issue.
It took the minority. That's why I was telling you that it took the minority to also speak strongly on that, as well as Ghanaians to do the backing.
Right. Yeah, let's move on. Unfortunately, we have to move on.
You see, he has said certain things that
I'll give you just a few minutes.
Yeah.
So
First of all,
1 minute, please.
For him
so we
to
can
say
move
that
on.
the minority, it was because of the minority that PDS and all the PDS. Do you know how the whole thing came about?
Ghanaians know it already.
I mean, it was even the president himself who decided, even against even the direction of the United States government. When the United States government says that we should have a way of rectifying the PDS saga, the president says no, because they have flouted the laws of this nation.
And the people who flouted the laws.
Yeah, and that was even the reason why. I'm coming. I mean, the matter is still in court. You see,
what is happening to the people?
You talk about that corruption, that this government is endemic when it comes to corruption. I mean, look at NDC person talking about corruption. And that's corruption has been established. Established by who?
But you promised to do better, which is
we are doing better.
You see, but then it looks as if you are so deep in corruption.
How are we? You see, if you look at the Auditor General report that came, it was not mainly about corruption. It's about irregularities, and this is not the first time. If you look at the Auditor General reports over the years. This even if you look at the 12 billion that they said is lost and what they
9 billion.
They said about it said 12 billion. 9 billion is as a result.
The Auditor General says 12 billion.
Yeah,
but CDD says 9 billion has been lost to corruption.
I mean, the Auditor General. You see,
but the NPP says no, it's wrong.
It's wrong because they said that even if 10 billion was as a result of inability. Of the institution to recoup certain loans.
Hold on,
please, when you were talking,
I kept
quiet. So I'm saying that if you want to say, because of corruption, people can agitate and ask for what is not deserving of them.
Oh, you think it's not deserving?
No, I mean the quantum that they are asking for.
Really?
They are asking for an increase of 25% in their salaries.
They don't deserve that.
At this particular point in time,
they don't.
That is not realistic. Let's be honest with ourselves.
It is not realistic.
It is not realistic at this point.
25%.
At this point, to be asking of 25% salary increase, when we all know, when the facts are palpable, the facts
is this
are
your personal opinion, or are you speaking on behalf of government? Because they are asking.
Is it realistic to you? Is it realistic?
I'm asking you.
I'm also asking you.
I'm asking you.
Is it realistic? No. Is it realistic?
To answer questions.
Is it realistic for you to be coercing people to agitate for 25%?
That's what I'm asking. Is it your personal opinion?
No, but I'm saying,
is this a reflection
I also ask you
of
your personal opinion.
You can ask me my personal opinion. I will not answer questions here.
But is it realistic? It is not realistic.
It is realistic for every employer to seek.
It is not realistic for anybody to say so.
Let's move on. Let's move on and talk about Agenda 111. And yesterday, Minority put out a statement asking for government to account for some 636 million Ghana cedis that has already been spent ahead of the Agenda 111. Again, we're told that some 36 million of that amount went into the project, design and a number of other things, some consultative meetings. But there's some 600 million Ghana cedis that has not been accounted for, even though it appeared in the budget. And yesterday, this issue was raised. We saw the health minister respond. We saw the presidential advisor, Dr. Nsia Asare, also respond. Let's take a look at what they both had to say on this matter, and we'll discuss it.
That since I joined the ministry, no project has been abandoned. Last year, we did a lot of shortcutting on some projects, and we are being asked questions as to why these projects have not started or have not completed. Let me state that it looks like very soon, very quickly, all of us Ghanaians are forgetting about the fact that the world was hit by a pandemic which disrupted normal economic activities. Projects like La, Shama, 12 different hospitals to be done by just one contractor, Vamed from Europe. We did shortcutting for all of these in October, November. By December, COVID second wave has hit Europe, and its attended disruptions. People were not going to work, like in our country. Flight disruptions and cancellations and restrictions and quarantine and certain demands at certain airports wouldn't allow easily contractors and engineers who are coming to engage us to begin work for these projects to be done. And these are things that have actually delayed some of the projects we did shortcutting for. All that we have to do on these projects have not been completed. And within the next 2 weeks, Vamed alone is mobilizing to 12 different sites, Shama and La. Next week, you will see work, even now, preliminary works ongoing in these places.
And maybe when you look at the budget, we will see if 600 million has actually been spent. I don't believe that. I know that for the past 1 year, this committee plus the project steering committee and all the subcommittees have been sitting in the office, in the rooms and closed doors, and we've been working assiduously towards this. That's the reason why yesterday it ended up that the president have to commence the projects. And somebody was saying that why are we making what pan and pageantry about it? There's a proverb in Chi, asansafa adia wa de chere.
All right, so that's Dr. Nsia Asare. He's the presidential advisor on health. And earlier we saw the health minister, Dr. Kwekwajiman-Menu, also respond to some abandoned projects as well. Again, in the 2021 mid-year budget review in Appendix 4D and E, it indicated that some amount of money had been spent. And it said 36 million of that money had been spent on project designs, consultants and coordinators. And also the sum of 600 million released and utilized in 2020. But there were no details on that particular one. The health minister says we've not abandoned, and Dr. Nsia Asare says, I don't believe we spent that money. Elikem, I'll come to you first. Why was there a need to raise these concerns about Agenda 111, especially at a point when we've cut sword and we've been assured that we're going to see these 88 or 111 hospitals, district, regional, and the psychiatric hospitals in 18 months?
On a normal day, everybody, including yourself and myself, will say that is a brilliant project. It is welcome news. But of what character is the president in terms of cutting salt for projects? Shama, he cut salt for a project that till date, not after the day they cut salt and equipment was sent on site, nothing has happened till date.
He said COVID is the reason why they could not.
And so has COVID stopped now? So you see what I said was the hypocrisy of cherry picking what to say and do at what time. So has COVID stopped? It is the same reason they told us that there was emergency to save lives. That was why they went to procure the Sputnik V vaccines at that cost. When were we at the peak of COVID? Was it March? No. And so if the health minister was not thinking straight at that time, he became a square peg in a round hole right from the word go. This was the same health minister who didn't know anything about who contracted Frontier Services to be conducting COVID-19 tests at the airport. So you see, And I am so scandalized when I see these things. And you see a project that is going to cost almost $2 billion. You have given 200 million seed capital, and you believe that this is adequate enough for this to take flight, amongst other things. Why shouldn't we be convinced that this is just one of those PR rhetorics? Because the president not long ago, sometime, was it early this year or last year, promised us the 88 hospitals and all that.
That was last year in his 8th address to the nation.
How many has he achieved? And how long?
But they told us that they had to go through phase 1 of the project.
How long did he promise us at that time that it was going to be completed across the country? And what work did we see from that time till date?
That is what they updated us on.
So from a year ago, so it has taken a year.
He said consultations and a number of other things.
So it has taken, you see, when the president becomes populist, these are the things you see. So he was telling us that a year ago during the pandemic to make us feel that there's some urgency and they need to build 88 hospitals immediately to resolve the COVID-19 pandemic. A year on, we are now being told again that we are going to build 111. And where is the funding coming from? There's no clarity on it. And have you seen what they have done? It does not fall under... It falls under the presidency itself. The chief of staff, I'm told, is beyond. How is the presidency awarding contracts and all these things?
Because they want him to have direct oversight over
is that
the
how
issue,
it
which
is
is
done?
what Dr. Nsia
Is that how
said.
it is done?
He said it's a flagship project.
The president is now telling you and I that when his ministers are in charge of programs, he always fails to have an oversight responsibility. That is why we are witnessing the mess we are in. And it is very disappointing, to say the least, that till date, the finance minister and the health minister are still at post and are even moving with the president on their trips. It is the reason why now, at the mention of President Nana, he becomes a noun and his pronoun is corruption. It is very worrying. Everybody would welcome news of development, amongst other things. President Mahama, you saw the projects under his tenure, UGMC, the Maritime Hospital, the Ridge that saw an upliftment, the Bank Hospital, many others. It didn't need all that pomp and pageantry. What did they not do about the cathedral? Where are we today? Bella, they are asking you to pay 100 cedis a month.
Voluntarily.
Voluntarily, yes. That is what I'm telling you. They are asking you to pay.
They're not forcing
So
anyone.
if you cannot pay it, the buildings that have been pulled down, and for that project, it will stall. And somebody has to be held responsible. I speak with this with so much passion because that is the negligence and recklessness of a government that we voted for. You have the cathedral. You made a singular prayer to your God. You prayed and said, when you make me win an election, I'll build for you a cathedral. Go to Cote d'Ivoire. Fobuani did same with the basilica. He didn't come to the people for that. You did that. Prayed to God and said, God gave you victory. You knew it was for 4 years. What did you do in the 4 years? You put people on planes going to raise funds. When we mentioned that, you said no, not even a single public fund will be made available for that. In the end, some funding was given to support that. Still, it wasn't enough. Today, you are asking us, were we there when you were praying to God? Do you know the church the president attended? By chance, do you know? So by mere fact that he even said the battle is the Lord, dazzled everybody and made us believe that, oh, he must be a strong Christian and a believer.
But he is Christian.
I cannot question that. But which church does he even attend?
I don't know. Church, either Church or Christ the King.
Well, I don't know.
One of those
you see, so this is a president who has not been able to fulfill numerous promises, including one that he made a promise to God. And you want me to believe that same president? When I have given you other examples of projects that he cut short for. Go to Apawai where I schooled. He cut short for a project there. Go to the Ajib roundabout in same Takrady. He cut short for a project there for the interchange. What has happened? Numerous projects that he has cut short for. What exactly has he done? So the rhetoric of making governance a PR work where you talk, that is what Nigerians always say, talk and no do. A lot of talking. You didn't need to be doing too much talking. Let your work do the talking for you.
Is that probably not why he has oversight over this one? Because he wants to ensure that we've made promises. I mean, people have been describing him as the president who makes promises and doesn't fulfill them. Is that not why he wants to have direct oversight so that in 18 months we see a hospital?
One district, one factory also was taken away from Alan Chermantin's portfolio. So a secretariat was created separately for that. What have we seen of that? It is just existing companies that have been rebranded or even some little support extended to them. Then they need to have a banner called it is one district, one factory.
Not only existing. I mean, the trade minister eventually came out to give us details of some
details
new,
of how many
some new factories that have been put out as well.
What percentage
Not
of
too
that
long ago, they mentioned about 50 or 53 new factories as against
the other
ones.
They have continually mentioned figures that you, the journalists, will need to verify. And I'm telling you on national studio that those are palpable falsehoods. Okay. You try to follow them. You recall how they even put up their projects on a website, including toilets, amongst other things. And in the end, they were pulling them down. They could not do a book because if they did that and it was contained in the book, there was no way they would have been tearing it apart. So they had to put it online. So when you complain and they realize they're exposed, then they quickly pull it down.
Okay.
It is not refreshing. It is not. We all wish that we can do that. And for the president to even say that this will make Ghana a medical destination or medical hub for... Look, if you look at how much they're using to build these hospitals, are they building polyclinics? That will be...
It's a district hospitals, one regional hospital in the
And
Western
when you
region.
do a calculation, averagely one is going to cost us about $16.8 million. And these are the same people who had gone to cut short for a project for Shama for 32 million euros. So what 32 million euros and $16.8 million, which is which? So let us get real. My unfortunate scenario, the unfortunate thing, however, is that we are having some media who are also not scrutinizing enough, and that is why we take everything line hook and sinker. Because if that is the case, I need to make an analysis. Look, this is what it was under President Mahama. When it was even 25 million, the hospital was 25 million. Dr. Baumia said that 25 million could build 5 hospitals. Till date, I am yet to see him build 5 hospitals with $25 million. So you see, mere rhetorics and talking is cheap. It is very easy.
Okay. All right. Let me just let Cookie read some messages quickly before Saka comes in to respond.
First one says, the man Saka did not know what he's talking about. Next time, do not bring him to the show. Bismarck in Agbozume says that one. Good morning, Bella. Is Saka Salia saying Ghanaians are not paying for the so-called free water and electricity? He doesn't know what he's talking about. Good morning, Bella. The MPP led by President Nana Akufo-Addo has failed lamentably to inspire confidence in Ghanaians, particularly the gallant youth of this country. Why on earth do you increase your salaries by 70% and only 4% for workers? Triddles sent in that one. Next one says, hi Bella, good morning to you and your panelists. Please, I don't actually understand what this MPP man is saying. Let's not turn a blind eye to what's not going on well in this country. When it happens to you, you would say it's bad, but when it happens to someone else, it is good. Bella, I can tell you for a fact, and when you need evidence, please hit me up and I'll provide you with the evidence that 4% increment salary for me, a young teacher married with a child, has less than 60% for salary increment. And the fuel I buy in my motorcycle from home to school and back costs me more than 200 cedis aside maintenance and change of oil for a motorcycle. We are waiting for 2024, and that came from K in Nkwanta South. What's this thing about COVID? Whenever our government find its back against the wall. I thought COVID funds of $1 billion were provided by the World Bank. We also claimed we exceeded our revenue projections. So why this COVID? Good morning, Bella. The leaders who negotiated for the 4% increment are a disappointment to the hard workers of this country and should step down. Gundana from Wendam in Bolgatanga sent in that one. Oh my God, this MPP communicator has made me sad this morning. For him to say public sector workers are not productive, I am very saddened. I am clear in my mind towards 2024. Now, Wolanyo in Akutia says, if public sector workers are not satisfied with the salary adjustments, they can go and search for greener pastures somewhere else where they can receive huge salary increments so that those of us who are unemployed can take over their places to earn just half of their salaries. What are they talking about? Regards to Chairman Christina Komia Kisi, MPP Eastern Regional Chairman. Good morning. Please tell Saka to stop deceiving the good people of the Republic of Ghana. Public sector workers are angry about the 4% increments in their salaries. How much is the cost of a bag of maize? Now, kindly ask Mr. Saka his profession and let him come to the classroom and teach before speaking 4% increment. Before saying that 4% increment is good for public sector workers.
Thank you so much, Cookie. And Nanaya says it's best if Saka kept mute. And Alaji Hamza from Pig Farm says, should be told this government has not been fair to public sector workers. 4% increase in their salaries is a slap and an insult to them. It is time government takes the good people of this country serious and stop insulting our intelligence. Elikem Kotoko has spoken the minds of Ghanaians this morning, and I'm proud of him. Saka, coming to you. So, the presidential advisor on health says he doesn't believe that 600 million has been spent. Has it really been spent? And if it was spent, what was it spent on?
Yeah, thank you very much. Before I come there, I mean, Elikem Kotoko made a lot of unverifiable allegations here, to the extent that he is telling us that this government is corrupt, and that the president does not know what he's doing.
Please speak up for me.
And that the president does not know what he's doing. First of all, I think that the NDC is dazed. They are dazed of the fact that we are going to have Agenda 111. 111 hospitals to be built within a space of 4 years by a single government. I'm coming. By a single government. You see, when we say 18 months, we talk about 18 months from the date of commencement.
Wait, so we're talking Agenda 111?
Yeah.
And you're saying 4 years?
Oh, please.
I told you.
No.
You listen to me.
Okay.
We are talking about 18 months from the day of commencement.
Okay.
So, for instance, we went to Commission 88. That is written now. The date that they will start commencement of the project.
Which was on the 17th.
Months. Within 18 months. Because look, if we go to Trade, and then Trade started, the commencement started last Monday. You don't expect another hospital that will maybe start 3 weeks or 3 months time to have completed.
The president says we will get them all in 18 months.
You didn't.
So
that is those
you see,
those that starts.
Elikan, please.
You see that starts on the day that he is talking about.
But he says we should.
Okay, but when we say
and in fact, they even said that we are not doing this in phases because we don't believe in phases.
No,
we're doing everything at a go.
The 88, we are talking about Agenda 111, but we started with 88. So the date the 88 starts, it's not a date. It is not going to end on the same day that the others will also, So we are talking about 18 months from the date of commencement of the project.
Okay.
I mean, this is so clear for
So hold on.
To understand.
If in another district it starts maybe a month from now, then we have to start calculating from that moment. Is that what you're saying? Then why is it that at the event the MC announced that all MMDCs should wait behind, and see the contractors because the work has to start immediately?
Yeah, because they were starting that 88 is starting at that time. But we are talking about.
But that's not what the president said, Saka. He says we will see these completed in 18 months.
Those that he commissioned the commencement date. That's what he was talking about. Not those that are yet to even start. The NDC talk as if, when building hospitals, it's like a kun for your kun, like be and it is. Or you go to the mall and buy cake and then come and then cut. It has phases. It takes time. Like we said, consultation with the consultants, they will do the designing.
But they've done all that. That's
I'm coming because he was talking about the fact that the Agenda 88, which was promised a year ago, he did not even see what has happened and all that. And I'm saying that it takes time. Even the acquisition of the land itself takes time. You go and take the land, you ensure that it is, you get rid of every encumbrances on the land. You ensure that even the land is registered. It takes time.
And they've done that.
So, yes. So that is the period, that is the process from that period up to now. And now the real, brick and mortar work is starting. And it will take 18 months to do so. So I am not surprised that the NDC is flip-flopping here. In one breath, you hear their flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, the then former president, say that, it is not necessary to build 88 hospitals in all. He says so. He said so in the Euro radio in Bolgatanga. He said that it is not possible, and it doesn't even make sense to say that you are building 111 hospitals, and for every hospital, every district to have a hospital. He says so. He said it doesn't make sense.
He said it was an afterthought.
I am telling you what he said. I'm telling you what he said.
Okay.
Alex Sekbefier says that, it is something that MPP copied from them. If your flag bearer, your former president is saying that it doesn't make sense, and you are saying that we are copying it from the NDC. So it means that, please.
Okay, I'll let you respond. The point here is...
He should respond again when I'm...
I'll let him respond later. You have the floor. But what I want to ask you is, it took us a whole year to go through the processes of land acquisition, design and all of that. We have been told that this process is supposed to have been automated when it comes to land acquisition. So you just go to the lands, department, and it's automated, really. So you don't have to go through all the stress.
Yeah, but you see,
but it took us a whole year, even as government.
Even the preferred sites and all that, it has to take time. Where and where to site the project and all that, it has to take time. The registration. I'm telling you that even the design alone, there's a lot of time that.
So if all that took a year, what's the guarantee that this can actually be ready in 16?
But we just finished.
Now you're telling us depends on when they actually start the work on the ground, which is totally different from what the president has said.
I'm saying that now we have done the most difficult aspects of it.
Okay.
Where to look for it and all that. Now we are only zooming in on the work itself.
Okay.
So if you come to say that, oh, where are you getting the money from? As if we cannot even get 2 billion. Let me tell you. Even excess capacity alone that we pay because of the reckless nature that the NDC signed take-or-pay PPPs. That one alone, 500 million, almost 1 billion a year. And we are talking about hospitals that will save this country from, ensure that we become the hub.
600 million has been spent already.
No. I mean, if you listen to
the presidential advisor, he says he doesn't believe that it's been spent.
So,
I'm asking you.
I don't know because I'm not part of those who the spending authority, and those who are part of the spending authority are telling you that it's not true.
But it appeared in the media budget review.
So what I am saying is that clearly you could see that the NDC that terms themselves as a political party that built infrastructure. If you look, I've always asked them a question, that they should tell me a project that John Dramani Mahama started in his regime, a health infrastructure project that he started and ended. Up to now, nobody can tell me. He's talking about University of Ghana Hospital, which was not started by, please. University of Ghana Hospital. He mentioned it here as a project that John Dramani Mahama left us. He was not the one who started it in the first place. It started with Professor Mills.
The Greater Accra Regional Hospital?
The Greater Accra Regional Hospital is an existing hospital that he renovated.
Okay.
You understand? And he talked about even the Ghana East Hospital, which was part of the Eurodigit project.
Okay.
All the hospitals that he mentioned, they are not the brainchild of John Dramani Mahama. Meanwhile, they will come here and sit and lie.
Why are contracts being awarded from the Office of the Presidency and not from the sector ministries?
You see, every ministry is supposed to, the president is supposed to have oversight responsibility over every ministry. When the president has want to have a focus on a certain project, he brings it to his own, to his doorsteps in order to give it the focus that it deserves. So that's the reason why.
Has he lost trust in his people?
It's not about trust.
In this case, because
it's not about trust. It's to ensure the speedy, expeditious.
We don't have details of the procurement process. So now, if we go to Parliament,
but if you want,
someone has to be answerable to it. The chairperson of this project is the chief of staff. We cannot call her to Parliament to answer these questions, can we?
But the president is there.
We should call the president to respond.
No, I'm not saying that you should call the president.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that the president has oversight responsibility over all the things that we are talking about.
How do we keep them accountable?
And not only that, I mean, how do you keep them in account?
Yeah. How do we keep them accountable if we do not have access because it's the chief of staff and the president?
No, but has anybody requested? Has anybody requested to know how the procurement process went?
But this is what we are asking now.
But am I the person for you to ask?
Are you not speaking?
No, for the procurement. No.
Are you not speaking on behalf of government?
No, I'm speaking on behalf of government. But you see, we are talking about the minute details of this project. We are talking about the minute details of this project until it is out there or given to communicate. You don't expect me to go telling you how the procurement was done.
So then we shouldn't be asking you because you can't give us the answers that we need.
The most important thing is that no procurement process was skewed. It went through the normal process of procurement.
How will we know if we don't have the evidence? That's what we're asking. You say you don't know, it's fine. I have to go.
Yeah, but I told you to ready yourself.
30 seconds, please.
I told you to ready yourself for a lot of mischief, and I think it has gone over the roof. I think I don't know what cap of hypocrisy my brother is serving himself. Because you see, no, I'm not insulting you. I mean, your own submissions.
If he feels insulted, please let's take it back.
I'm sorry, but I don't know
cannot allow that.
I don't know what cup of drink you're taking in terms of your submissions, because I feel so scandalized, and so are the people watching. Because at one point we cannot question you. At another point we should go and question somebody. Then what is the capacity in which you are even here? The question has been that, look, the president is now taking charge of projects with the chief of staff. Who do we then question if we have to? We don't know the procurement processes. Is that what the laid down rules are supposed to be?
But
then you are now here talking about excess capacity. What is Ghana's electricity penetration?
Okay.
What is Ghana's electricity penetration?
We have to go, gentlemen. My time is up.
This is within the health ministry.
I'm 6 minutes
let me wish a happy birthday to Ani Akufo.
You have to ask the health minister.
Yeah, but you came here. We asked him yesterday. He says they didn't abandon projects. Airports.
No, but I'm not talking about abandon.
We don't even know where the money is coming from.
No, I'm talking about the procurement process that you talk about.
Procurement. Okay.
If Parliament
Health Minister was asked about procurement processes involved in Frontiers Healthcare.
Yes.
No,
he says he didn't know.
we are not talking about Frontiers.
So how can we ask him?
We are talking about Agenda 111. And I'm saying that if Parliament wants questions on Agenda 111, because it has to do with the health ministry, the best place or the best person to act is the health minister.
Who doesn't have control over the project?
Who's the chairperson of this contract?
The chairperson? What do you know about the chairperson?
Of the steering committee on Agenda 111. It's the chief of staff.
No, but you see, the chief of staff cannot go to Parliament.
But
you have to use a minister. And the minister.
So what if he comes back again and tells us he doesn't know, like Frontiers? Then what do we do?
No, he was only giving you an information about the procurement of the Frontiers.
Okay.
But I'm not sure that if you go to Parliament, he will tell Parliament that.
But it was in Parliament, in front of the appointments committee. He said he didn't know, and he's not the only one.
No, but it's not every procurement within your ministry that you can.
He didn't know.
It's not every procurement within your ministry.
It's
not every procurement within your ministry that you can offhand just say that I know.
Okay.
Unless you go,
We have to end this conversation now.